is Androka, and today I'm going to be reading Snow Charger by Mary McSwain. I have this book and I'm going to do a summary about it. It's my homework, okay? Start at page 1. The story is based on an actual happening. On June 28, 1940, the Northern Friar Bomana reached Billanpur with a cart of gold bullion worth $9 million. When the Bonoa captain asked for the police to assist unloading the boat, a strange story came to the light. The gold, it was learned, been slipped past by Nazis, terrorists, by Northern children who pulled in to their sleds to a fire hidden in one of the many forts of the Norway coast. No harm might come to the brave children nor the recent little gold rush. Okay, I'm not reading any more of this part, but it's page 3. It's actually page 3, okay. I beat you to the turn, leader. Thunderstorm shot his sled down the long, steep slope. No fair, you started first, his friend Michael Bragg protested. Nevertheless, he flew along the Peter's track. The school was over for that day at least, and Peter and Michelle were joining one of the sled rides. The children of Norway never been tired. As they turned a possible death, but their rest was short. For Peter sped out by another sled. Look out! Here comes girls! With that, he headed down another slope. His friend behind him, Peter, was 12 and felt grown up. Playing with the girls was something he meant never to do. Heavy clothes hid all but his yellow hair and face. His eyes were clear and brown, wide apart and even line. They looked untroubled. Michael, the same age, seemed different in everything else. While Peter was tall and slender, Michael was square. His hair was like tow. His eyes were that bright blue and often called typically something. Hey, wait a minute! A dark-eyed girl drove her sled into the place the boys had just left. Her black curls bobbed like sausages under the cherry red of her hood. She was Hilda Thomason and somewhat a tomboy. Behind her, the same sled with a smaller girl. Fair as yoga as was dark, the smaller girl was Eliza, Peter's 10-year-old sister. We'll catch them on the lookout. Hold on, Hilda dug her heels in the snow and began another swift descent. We'll catch them on the lookout. They did. For the sled track made a sharp twist. Below that, nearly 1,000 feet lay in the sea. Peter and Michael had to slow down to avoid crashing into the wall that protected the road. Hilda, darling as any boy, drove straight at them, so there were clumber, yells, and tangle of windbreakers, caps, sweaters, and mittens. They never had such winter for snow. It began early, with each month grew higher and higher on the ground. April was like January. No sign of thaw from one end to the other, from one end of Norway to the other. People talked about nothing else. They only stopped talking about when something entirely terrifying drove it into mind. They remember again. It looked to help them in their trouble. Up in the Arctic Circle, where these children lived, it was winter for much of the year. Sled and skis were used for travel for all but a few months, but unaccustomed as people were long, cold, white stillness. The winter of 1940 surprised past anything even the oldest could remember. The mountains seemed asleep that April. Along the sea, with the sea, world was lifeless, except for the forge. The harbors here in the north where ice looked. The channels, great white fields of white. The forests seemed alive with their black rushing waters and blobbing ice cakes. These forceful streams flow too fast for the freezing, and so are always highway and the open sea. The four friends at the lookout continued their lively play. Peter and Michelle tried to watch Hugo's face, but the snow was too hard and dry. The face washing could hardly be called successful. Hugo managed to get a handful of snow down Peter's back, and that did amount to something, for she had a little bit of trouble shaking. He had a little bit of trouble. Wait, I don't know where it is anymore. A little bit of trouble shaking out the permanent discomfort of its melting. Tired of the tussle, the four squatted on their sleds. When Mitchell idly tossed a lump of snow at Hugo's lap, she got up to shake her dress. In doing, she turned toward the sea. Why, Peter, where's your Uncle Vicar? There's your Uncle Vicar. Sir, she was surprised and rose like his mate. Look, you're crazy. Peter didn't bother to get up. But it is your uncle, to be honest. Now, what in the world will he doing here? You didn't suppose he's fishing this time of the year, do you? But it is. Peter, come see. She was sure that he got up, if only to be able to tell her she was wrong. Below, miles away by the road, only a little distance for a stone, Uncle Vicar was making a footprints in the hard snow. Behind him, a sulky figure of Rose, second in command of the Landstorm fishing fleet. Yoo-hoo, Uncle Vicar! Louisa was on her feet and leaning out over the wall of the lookout, but she could not make him hear. Woohoo! The four of them yelled in chorus. The cupping in their hand made a sound carry farther. Uncle Victor Landstorm heard them and looked up. There was no great word of greeting that the children had expected. He only waved his arm and went on walking. Rose saw them too, and she gave a equally cattle salute. Peter scowled. Greeting was unlike Uncle Vicar. He should have been overjoyed to see them, especially after a long trip. He was Peter's favorite relative, and in truth, he was a hero. He led a life of adventure in contrast with Peter's father, a banker. He was one of the most successful fishermen in the land of able fishers. He had a whole fleet of boats and sailed about everywhere. His nephew, nephew supposed when he came back from a voyage, he had stories to tell that no one could match. Uncle Victor was as fond of his brother children as they were of him. So it wasn't like him not to seem glad to see them. What's he doing here? Michael wanted to know. They watched him walk along the beach toward the cliff beyond Flick Ford. He's on his way to Snake, they decided. The snake was the tiny arm of the big fork, so it twisted and narrowed, and it deserved its name. Unless you know about the snake, you never guessed it. It was there, almost entirely hidden by the cliffs. Even from the air, it would be hard to trace. To the trained person, Uriah's eyes danced for the trained person, and Uncle Victor's own fishing boat, the one that he alone might sail. The children were permitted the boat only as a special treat. Why is he here? Peter pondered. He never comes north until the ice is gone. But he had no time for farther reaction, for a snowball oak in his face. So you thought I was crazy, he got hunted. Crazy as a hare. Michael's snowball landed on Heel's hood. It splattered. Her eyes and face were white. She lowered her head and shook it from side to side like a fierce young animal. Then she charged at her tornado. Meanwhile, Elisa had not been idle. Her fast-moving mittens were busy rolling hard pellets of snow. Then she stood back and hurled with all her strength and all the skill she was able to acquire by watching the immortal boy since she was old enough to remember. Hilda and Peter were locked in a tussle when Hilda came to her friend's rescue. One swift snowball caught Peter's in the ear. He turned in surprise to see whose assassin might be. Michael brought a handful of snow and gave Hilda another face washing, but Louisa's ball caught him improperly. He stumbled and fell. Come on, Hilda, let's get out of here while we're on the top. Louisa believed in earning her victory. She preferred not to chance meeting defeat by remaining, but Hilda parted her feet to defend and stand a stick ready to meet other corners. What do you want to run away for? She jeered at Louisa. I think anyone who could hit as hard as you would be glad to stay and fight it out. There was a hard truth. It came from one who was not any older but recognized the leader among the girls, Risica. Louisa glowed in the prize, but that did not stop her busy mittens. They were peeling as many rounds of almonton on Hilda's shed. Look out, Hilda warned just in time to prevent Peter from stealing the shed with all the snowballs. So Peter got the first of Louisa's bullets and had to stand across fire when Hilda opened it from the other side. And so the battle went on. The boys, for all their strength aside, didn't be able to subdue the quick-witted girls. None of them seemed tired to risk a change of snow. Good glory, it's getting dark. Peter was the first to realize that the afternoon was over. Absorbed in the fight, the four of them filled no passing time. We're all gonna be late for supper, and we'll get what's coming to us. And that was what that was, he then had to explain, for they all understood it's no pleasant process. Come on, let's get out of here. They were scrambled for sleds, caps, mittens, and even sweaters that had been discarded as the battle grew hot. They began the long climb up the mountain to Risca. Kia. and the town stood to the level on the shelf and the mountain slope. As Peter predicted, he and Louisa were late for their evening meal. But what's coming to us never came. Their father was busy with his own thought, and their mother could always be counted to keep the peace in the family, especially when Mr. Lonstorm was home. They told of seeing Uncle Victor a strange thing happen. Her father pushed back his chair and jumped up from the table. Peter and Louisa were surprised because they never seen him leave the meal unfinished. My hat and coat, purred Garson. He called as the old family servant. Victor's back from ISIL. I gotta go out. Purr, Justin entering the coffee but all dropped the tray. All but dropped the tray. When Peter told his father about seeing Uncle Vicar that afternoon, he saw the look of alarm came over to his face. Now it's that extreme, although two brothers were different in every way. There was strong, bold bond between them. Was Uncle Vicar in some sort of trouble? Peter wondered when he asked his mother. She shook his head. Why did Father go out? He asked. You know he never does at night. He says he's always tired of a day at the bank and likes to stay home. Yes, I do, his mother replied. He's busier than ever right now, so must be very tired. A treasury is awful home here from ISIL, and your father has to work very hard. He's worried. Is it because we're going to be poor? Louisa asked. Is there something wrong with the bank? For Louisa and Peter always lived in horror of something wrong with the bank. Not that I know of, Louisa, her mother answered. The bank had more gold than ever. Well, why is Father worried? He used to play a lot with Bunny. Peter referred to his 4-year-old brother. Now he hardly notices it. It's about the war. Is it about the war? About the New Zealand taking Poland, even up the Arctic Circle and destroying of the year that could not be overlooked? Yes, Peter, it has something to do with that. But don't worry. Your father's a capable man. Everything he gets in his hands turns out right. Peter was awakened out the sound of sleep that night. To his room and came heavy boots. Bam, 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 bam. Boots kicked the outside wall to shake off the snow, and more banging of storm doors and the house door as well. They came voices. He wondered what could matter. He got up and to see. It was unlike anything he could remember to have people coming in the house late at night. His father was speaking when Peter got out of the door in the living room. He bent over the hearth, raking the embers of dying fire. Purr Gerson, the old houseman, stuffed in the fire and took the 5 irons away from him. They would never get out gold. Her father turned to face the man he had brought home with him. His voice was loud and hoarse. Not an ounce of it will they touch. Of that I'm determined. How does it amount to the last shipment is here? John Olson, the clockmaker, asked. It's bulletin, of course, Mr. Lonstorm replied, and it's more than 13 pounds. And Peter was banker's son enough to know that bulletin is the gold before it's made into money. 13 talents, Michael Berg father explained. Why would be 30 million kroner more? It's near 40 million. Phew, came a whistle. Phew, came a whistle, and Peter saw his Uncle Victor. That's around $9 million in the United States. Uncle Victor has spent much time in America. He and Peter's father had a brother in Minnesota, and Victor visited. More often than not, he spoke of dollars rather than Norwegian coin. Peter moved to the room. And it was then they saw him. Peter, his father said harshly, go back to bed and close the door. Wait a minute, Lears. Uncle Victor addressed his older brother. Peter's nearly 13, and is Peter and once his age, who can save our gold? I see it now why we didn't think of it. We spent the night considering everyone from reindeer snails from our Tromor plains, and we have the answer right under our noses. The children. They looked at Uncle Vicar in surprise, but he only stepped and put his arm around Peter's shoulders. This is no boy's game, his father said less sharply. He looked at Peter and there was sadness in his eyes. Go back to bed, son. His voice was kind. Wait, Lears, let me talk to Peter. When he goes to bed, I'll show you how we're going to save our building. He drew Peter toward the fire and threw the coat over his pajamas. How many children in your school, Peter? 40? You're nearly 50, Uncle Victor. How many do you suppose are over 10? Gee whiz, Uncle Vicar, I don't know. Maybe half? You mean the girls too? Of course I mean the girls too, he spoke hurriedly. Now, Peter, when I was a boy, we thought of nothing of a sled trip to Snake. It's 9 miles, but we were young and tough, not soft like you. We thought nothing of a trip like that. We go to the Snake too, Peter reported, glaring. He never knew Uncle Vicar was teasing him. Of course you wouldn't start a recipe. There would be 2 or 3 miles before you started. That makes maybe 12 miles. You think you could do it? Or would you be crying for Mama all the time? Uncle Victor, Victor, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know that Michael and I had got lots of feathers pooping on sled trips last week, and we didn't cry for our mamas either. You'll do, boy. You're all right, but there's another part. That's the dangerous part, Uncle Victor. For all the gold in Norway, I won't have my son in danger, Mr. Lornstone cut in. Peter wants a chance to help his country too, don't you, fella? Peter nodded. He didn't trust his voice. So you wouldn't mind to meet an enemy one that heard the gun? Peter was breathless. His eyes were bright. This was the way Uncle Victor lived. There was an excitement whenever he was, and you wouldn't tell, would you, Peter? They would pull your tongue out. You'd never say a word that would hurt your country. Victor, Mr. Lawson protested. Enough of this. I know what you mean, but maybe our only chance. But don't go frightening Peter. You're right, youngster. You'll do. Uncle Victor gave Peter a terrible thump on the bed. And that's the end of chapter 2. I read 2 chapters. My voice is kind of hurting because of all the talking. And thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you next video or something, I guess, or other videos. But I'll check the comments if any of you said hello in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. See you next video.